Hi guys, welcome to episode 6 of I decided to review my entire CD collection, the series in which I review every CD I own, all 571 of them, and rank them in order from worst to best. If you want to jump straight into the review, that's fine, just see the chapters below, but I'll do a little introduction first. This series is an excuse to re-listen to all my CDs and a reason to keep them before other family members decide to chuck them out. Regardless of if they make a comeback or not, I want to keep hold of them all, even the ones I'm not that keen on. So far I have reviewed Adele, The Addicts and a trio of AFI releases. The next musical coaster in my collection is a 5-track EP by a band called Afro entitled We Don Land, which according to their Bandcamp page is Nigerian Pidgin English for We Have Landed or We Have Arrived. Off the top of my head there is no band or artist between AFI and Afro worthy of mentioning, so we jump straight into listening to this Welsh hip-hop funk combo. I first became aware of the small hip-hop group from Cardiff on a compilation from bandcamp.com called Stop Killing People You Twits. This is a family-friendly channel unfortunately, so I can't say its real name. That was a benefit compilation to stop NATO Cymru, released in August 24 by Aviach. The compilation had 38 songs in it of all genres by relatively unknown. I shouldn't say unknown, I'll say not mainstream. I think that's a better way of putting it. So not mainstream bands. Afro stood out to me as having the best song on the album by a long way. There are a few others as well, like Autonomads and Global Parasite, but their track Power Moves was the song I played on repeat. Not long after, I decided to start a podcast called The Punk Rock Gospel that mainly played punk, but it did branch out to other genres as well, like hip-hop, played artists like Afro Cluster, Mad Conductor, Radio Rhydd, and Sage Francis, amongst others. I ordered We Don Land from the band's Bandcamp page in August 2016 for £5 plus £1.50 postage and packaging. We Don Land is an EP released on April the 11th, 2016, making me 7 years late to the party. As you can see, the artwork looks absolutely fantastic, well crafted, looking like a classic Jamaican reggae album from the 70s. I would have delved into the packaging more, but I filmed this footage weeks ago in my old bedroom, so unfortunately I don't have it at my house. We Don Land was Afro Cluster's first EP, sandwiched in between 2 single releases, and is a prequel to their first full-length album, The Reach, released in 2021. As far as I can see, Afro Cluster have released their 2 singles, the EP and the album themselves, making me miffed that no record label has snapped them up. They have performed at Boomtown, Glastonbury and South by Southwest festivals. There are 8 members on the photo of them on Bandcamp, but way more musicians played on this EP, so I'm not 100% sure who is full-time and who's just an extra. Let's just presume that they are an 11-piece band, because that is pretty unique. This may take a while, but we have Skunkadelic on lead vocals, DJ Veto on turntables and percussion, Andrew Brown on bass guitar, David Brinmore Davis on drums, Charlie Piercy on guitars and keyboards, Russell Evans on trombone, Hugh Parry and Lawrence Collier on trumpet, Sam Robertson and Jack Buchanan on saxophones, and last but not least, Tim Short on congas. So there will be a test at the end of the review. From the opening bars of the EP's first track, it is easy to appreciate how the name Afro Cluster complements the band so well. There is a glorious blend of many different genres such as funk in the bass, smooth jazz in the gentle piano chords, and a big band feel, albeit with far less musicians in the brass and sax lines. The late introduction of Public Enemy-esque hip-hop sound of scratch vinyl and political speech samples are all complemented by a percussion section heavily influenced by afrobeat in the same vein as Fela Kuti and Hugh Masekela. This instrumental is preparing us for a laid-back, feel-good EP full of well-crafted and well-thought-out ambitious arrangements. The next track, Love Thing, is a more 70s funky guitar-driven number as we are introduced to the baritone hip-hop crooner and socially conscious, loved-up lyricist Skunkadelic, who provides a unique deep voice and positive delivery. The uplifting message in the chorus is catchy without being corny and gets your foot tapping. The brass section never ceases to amaze me from beginning to end on this EP. The licks they play are complex, well harmonised, creative with their syncopation and in tune and centred. For a band with a modest following like Afro Cluster, often the brass, I'm including saxophone when I say brass. I know it's a whole new video, but for the sake of ease, I'm willing to depart with my pedantic nature for this review. Like I was saying, often the brass in bands that haven't quite taken off could be ropey and not a good standard, but these guys could make a lucrative living as session musicians. Double Trouble is another funk song that makes you pull faces like you're in pain because it's so good and music shouldn't be allowed to sound that good. 70s funk filth is the perfect description for this. The trumpet playing is so on point, glissandoing to a top D like it's nothing. You find yourself nodding your head in approval as Skunkadelic tells a modern love story about a half Nigerian, half Greek girl adding him as a friend on social media, to which he accepted. This is the sort of song that is perfect for a game of Twister with your spouse, but you realise you don't own a Twister board, so need to improvise. There also happens to have been a power cut, so you have to play by candlelight, and it's a marathon game, so you have to be really meticulous with your turns. This is a family channel, that's why I'm sounding really British. Skunk also references The Simpsons, which just takes it to another level. The title track should have been #1 in the charts for 12 weeks if the charts weren't so awful. The tempo increase in contrast to the previous songs is more than welcome at this point on the CD. This song has everything. The lyrics marking the band's arrival into the world that would ride the line between arrogant and endearing. The catchy chorus you could sing after hearing the refrain 3 times. It sounds like the whole band were involved in the arrangement of the song, but they weren't afraid to shut down any bad ideas. The success of Afro Cluster is that musicians don't seem to have an ego, and the 11-piece understand when they are the main character and when it's appropriate to have another instrument lead the way. The brass know when to dominate the track and when to let the drums lead. The bongos and drums could have been even more dominant in the mix, to the point of obnoxiously taking over. I have a Dizzy Gillespie recording of A Night in Tunisia and the percussion is louder than Motorhead, yet it somehow works. I wanted it here. The bass also knows when to lead and when to chill, as does Skunk. I like how Skunk has little breaks to let the band show their prowess. He seems to have no ego and is quite happy to let the band do their thing, which is a commendable quality, especially as a rapper. Quite possibly the most self-absorbed musicians in the space. Fight me in the comments. I'm a brass player, so I just have to nod to them again at how impressive they sound. The complexity of the riffs on this track are so inventive and sharp, so syncopated and staccato. They are the stars of this album. The chorus as a whole gives me goosebumps, as do the sharp sforzanos in the brass when they enter. A self-released EP from a little-known band in Cardiff has no right to be this good. The songs are structured well, the vocals are on point, it's mixed and produced at a standard by a band who should be having mainstream success. The brass in particular have no right to be that good. What do this band need to do to get a record deal? This EP is flawless. I had goosebumps at times. It merges genres seamlessly, nodding to the past whilst also feeling fresh. Everyone needs to hear this band. It's positive and it will make you dance and forget about your woes for the duration of the recording. There isn't anything I can pick on apart from the band need to take even more risks in future recordings to sound dirtier and raunchier, making the rhythm section so loud that it is bordering on offensive. Maybe the charm of rough production from years past needs a revival in the same way Afro Cluster have revived old genres to make their own new one. I give We Don't Land by Afro Cluster a 9 out of 10. Everyone needs this band in their life. Now I need to rank this EP with albums I've already reviewed. It goes without saying that We Don't Land is way better than the 2 AFI albums and the Addicts album. I did debate slightly over 21 by Adele because her voice is amazing, but I have concluded that this EP is superior. Now I'm stuck. Does We Don't Land deserve top spot? It feels wrong not to put this top. And how on earth do you compare hardcore punk to Afro Cluster? For me, this boils down to vibe. I'm more of a punkhead who enjoys running around and letting off steam than someone who enjoys chilling. So for that reason, I'm going to keep All Hallows by AFI at #1 and put Afro Cluster's We Don't Land at #2. This feels a bit wrong and I feel like they could have easily gone on top, but that AFI recording was also elite. So AFI have managed to stay on top for now. So now let's do a rundown of the updated charts. So down to #6 we have AFI with December Underground. Down at #5 we have The Addicts with 27. Down at #4 we've got AFI with Sing the Sorrow. Down again, #3 Adele with 21. New entry in at #2 we've got Afro Cluster's We Don't Land EP. And staying at #1 we've got the All Hallows EP by AFI. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. Did Afro Cluster deserve top spot? Should they be more famous? Should they be less famous? Are they the best thing to come out of Cardiff? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.